but you inspired me to actually write some real things. So round of applause for you, man. That was nice. We did a talk yesterday. Quick round of applause for the team at Cosmotive for organizing this and all the hard work they're doing to like support period poverty and end all that. Blendine, Opportune, and the rest of the team. Round of applause for you. And the round of applause for the team at Spoken Word Rwanda for hosting this event. All right, enough talking. I'm nervous, so I'm just going to get into the poetry. I wrote this poem for my friends. I asked them a bunch of questions about the hard things that they wanted to do in their lives, and then I mimicked their words and turned it into a poem. This poem is called You Can Do Hard Things. You can do hard things. You can do hard things like falling in love and demanding safety and telling others to serve you. Being a last born is no burden. One should carry the rest of their lives. You have learned to carry your family on your back and through your words and in your service, and now is the time that someone carries you. You can do hard things, like asking for kindness, telling them to not be so loud, demanding care. You are patient. That doesn't mean that they should make a hospital out of you. You are not built to fix all their problems at a whim and on demand. You can do hard things, like admitting that you are toxic, like coming to terms with the fact that sometimes you are the toxic one in the relationship, and that sometimes you're band-aids over wounds, and sometimes that maybe listening is better than being listened to, and that sometimes you can do hard things like listening to your thoughts and your body when it tells you to stop, and when it tells you to keep going, and then you listen to your soul when it tells you that maybe this one time you weren't the toxic one, maybe it was her, and that maybe this time it's them, and then you listen to them because they deserve to be listened to too. You put your ego aside. You learn to do hard things like leave. You leave that party, that job, that group of friends, that career. You leave that person that doesn't serve you anymore. You learn to do hard things like loving yourself. You learn to do hard things like letting go of ex-lovers and former situationships because you need clarity, and the sky can be your limit if you are not clear. I can do hard things like being in a long-distance relationship. Like actually being committed. Actually. And not doing that half and half thing where you're in and then you're out, or we should just be friends. Like allowing my heart to let go and find its way in the Milky Way and the ocean of my existence. I too can do hard things like letting my guard down, singing to my Jerichos. I don't always have to be stone cold like I'm Steve Austin, watching my walls fall and the rawness of this wrestling match, but love is no SmackDown. And those were a couple references for those among us that love WWE. You can do hard things like be on stage and bare your soul. You can do hard things like tell the truth. Like wear your heart on the seam of your existence. Even though it may seem that you are doing nothing, you can do hard things like tell your younger sister that you are proud of the woman she is becoming. Even though you used to argue as kids, it's normal, that's what kids do. And now that you are older, you can always circle back and become a child again, because children know a lot more about innocence than adults do. I can do hard things like being okay with good things happening to me and not always wondering when they will end. We can do hard things like move a country forward. We together can do hard things like not share in Kigali. Because just because we share in Kigali doesn't mean that it's right and it's all right. We can do hard things like be vulnerable, like tell the truth, like poetry, like come on stage, like share our souls. You can do hard things. Thank you. The talk yesterday that was organized by the team at Cosmotive, and Esther was hosting. And she repeatedly asked me, like, are you seeing yourself writing a poem about, like, the topic we're talking about menstrual hygiene and periods, and like you've been like helping us with this thing. I was like, okay. Just at me next time. There's no reason to go through the corners. Talk to me direct. And so I wrote a poem. Bear with me if this poem doesn't do the topic justice. I'm still learning. She told me, you see me but don't hear me. Do you know that I am a fountain of life? I bleed every month and yet I live. I could be at the fountain of your youth. I could be your truth. I know more about pain than you can imagine. I have survived hurricanes and thunderstorms, turning tides and cyclones, and yet I am expected to show up every day like it's all fine, like nothing is wrong, and I do because it's all right. It's true, without me there is no you. And so when I kiss the storm, I birth life. I am a garden, my flowers bloom, make room for me. Honestly, I should be a volcano, a flow of lava, a fire burning up your existence. I should burn up all the times you have called my pain nagging. I should swallow you up for all the times you have called my shedding. You are just being emotional. What emotions can describe being made into God's image every month? What emotion can describe my ability to still love you when you cannot see me or know my truth? She told me, you see me but don't hear me. So I hold back my assault to revolt and react. I swim in my shame. I take a step back and let this out-of-body experience happen. And so for the first time I see her, because for once I too am spiritual. Her body speaks and I listen. This month when the gods come to make a home in her womb, I will be there to help feed their needs. I will be there to help her hold their pain. I will be there to listen and not to judge. I will be the full stop to her coma, a time frame in her existence, the bridge between the flow, between her thighs, a period. I think Diana's going to call me back later, and I hope to have some love poems later for you. But thank you so much. Round of applause.